In the name of my ancestors. Peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I'm the host of this particular program, known here as the mighty Angel Snub 7. I am your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I just want to share some thoughts. This is not a conclusion to anything. It's not a teaching. It is just something like back in the early 1990s, Arsenio Hall used to say, things to make you say, So let us, or allow me to share a little with us in these few minutes that I am so honored that you allow me to speak with you. It just so happened I was clicking through the channels of the cable or satellite, whatever that's here. I don't know what it is, but I was watching the beginning of this movie, and this movie was based upon Greek mythology. It was talking about the gods, Zeus, Aphrodite, and Apollo, and these gods, Mount Olympus. That's what it was based upon, Greek mythology. And in Greek mythology, you have the gods. I want you to think with me and try to relate this to ourselves in modern times or in real time. Because many of us believe in God. We might not believe in gods, but it's the same concept. I want you to listen very carefully so that you can say, these gods, according to this movie, it said that these gods created man or the human being. I don't know. It never said really what the purpose of creating men was for these gods. But it seemed as though these gods were vain. They had some type of, they were arrogant, and they just loved the feeling or the fact that they had this power over somebody else. These gods, their powers was enhanced by the emotion of men. So they caused their men or man, these slaves, they wanted them to worship them all the time. They fed off emotional energy. Look. The God feeds off emotional energy. I need to step back because I skipped a verse. In the creation of the gods, there were various positions for each god. Zeus had a position, Aphrodite, Apollo, everybody had a position upon Mount Olympus, but one person got left out, and that was Hades. Hades was unable to get a position on Mount Olympus, and Hades was sent to the underworld. sent to the underground. And Hades became a symbol of death and destruction, hatred. So while the gods above fed off the emotion of happiness and love and whatever you want to call it, Hades under the ground fed off the emotions of sorrow, treachery, betrayal, jealousy, and envy. And Hades did not like this. Because Hades was a god, Hades wanted to be above with everybody else. But for some reason, these cast Hades into what we call hell. Now, everything, well, let me say this. Who created these gods? What gave these gods life? And what is the purpose of these gods? What is the purpose of God? Just to sit around and flaunt power? Look at what I can do. I can make a lightning bolt. I can shake the earth. Look what I can do. What is the purpose of God besides being your slave master? Because for a slave, that's all you can see as far as God is concerned, is that God is some kind of a slave master. And you were born and created to serve these gods or this God. But what gave these gods life? What gave these gods power? And why do they have the right just because they created man? Why man has to be a slave to these gods, but these gods was created by some power, and they are not anybody's slave. They are up in the clouds flaunting their power. So this eventually became a problem for the gods because men began to think with their brains, began to realize that these gods were vain, that's something that these gods have problems with ego. They were jealous. These gods got a problem. I'm no longer going to be a slave. I don't care if you created me or not. I'm not going to no longer serve you. That made the gods above very, very angry because they thrive. They thrive off the emotion of the slave. See, look at us today. Every Sunday, every Wednesday night or whatever, you pray 24 hours a day and you clap and sing songs for your God because the gods live off your emotion. But then it says in this particular story that men became smart, they became wiser and began to see these gods as the crap that they really were. See, see, but you don't see. Oh, wow. See, I keep saying see because see means that your eyes become awakened to the reality of the things that we have been taught. This is what the gods decided to do. They knew that Hades wanted to be part of the godhood. So they decided to try to make space for Hades if he used his power, which is of hate, misery, suffering, and death. Give the man hell for disobedience to the God. Why are you going to punish me, God? Because I really did something? I broke some type of law? No. Because I decided to refuse to feed your vanity, your arrogance. So now you want to punish me because now I see the value in myself. Yes, you created me. Yes, you gave me life. But I understand my own value. I understand who I am. And the men decided, the human being decided they would no longer worship these gods. So the punishment for not serving God was they decided to unleash Hades upon the men. But see, all is not in vain, because there was somebody from within the human being to be born that would have the power to challenge the gods and free people from gods that were unjust, gods who acted and behaved like slave masters. Because anybody that has life should respect other life. It is unnatural in this world of reality for anybody to be a slave. You are not nobody's slave. I don't care what kind of power some God has. I don't care if some God created you or whatever. This story tells us that we should find the value in ourselves. And we should not be a slave to nobody. They live off the vanity, the emotional spirit that we give when we pray and when we worship these beings or this God that don't even deserve it. And God don't do nothing for you. I love what Elijah Muhammad always teach. He said, why do we love the Caucasian people? Because they give us nothing. Why do you love God? Because God don't do nothing for you. You make up stuff. Oh, God did this for me. If you didn't do it, it wouldn't get done. That's the bottom line. There's a saying that God helped those who help themselves. If I am helping myself and I am being successful at helping myself, why are we giving credit to God? That's fairy tale stuff. That's the same thing like what we do every December when we go out and go into debt and buy Christmas presents for everybody, talking about Santa Claus, when the reality is it was us. Why are we so shamed? Why do we feel as though it's not right that we give ourselves credit for the things that we do? We want to give the credit to these non-living something beings, vain things running around. So I just wanted to bring that to us. That's just something to think about. That the people began to see the flaw, and these gods was not as perfect as they thought that they were. But they thought they were because they kept you in a slave-like condition and you didn't know any better. Think about it. Jot down your comments. This is your brother Taalik Ibn'rad. This was and is the Reality's Temple on Earth.